Hello and welcome to Soul Steps. I'm David Gallagher. I was 16 years old, hadn't had my license very long, and I was driving. I'd taken my mother to a dance class, and I had just dropped her off. I was driving through this town, and I was going about 43 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour speed zone, and I got pulled over. Got my first ticket. The officer came and said, do you know how fast you're going? And blah, blah, blah. And I immediately blamed my mother because I was in a hurry. I hadn't planned on having to take her to her dance class. And the officer just saw this young kid and thought, oh boy, take some responsibility. I'm a visionary. And those who know me and have worked closely with me know that that can cause all kinds of interesting situations because I can see things big. Now, we were working on a capital campaign for a medical building in Kenya, and the board had not decided yet if the building would be 2 stories or more. And I had gone out to dinner with a couple and was talking about the medical building and the vision for it. And, I do not recall ever mentioning the size or whether it was going to be 2 stories or 3 stories. But after the dinner, they sent in a check. And they designated the check to be the 3rd story of that medical building. And wow, that was a blessing. But the board hadn't approved a 3rd story. And I also knew, having not brought that specific conversation up over the dinner, I also had a good idea who might have been talking to them and steering them in that direction. But I knew that I was pretty sure that if there was any concerns over that I was going to be the one who would be blamed. In a really great way, being blamed for God's blessing. But I decided not to say a word. I decided to keep my mouth shut. I wasn't going to say anything to anyone about if there was going to be any fireworks, who might have been the one to have planted that seed in this couple's mind. I just purposely intended not to throw my coworker under the bus. Throwing people under the bus is common to human nature. I think in Genesis 3, when God confronted Adam and said, hey, did you eat of that fruit? And he said, yeah, but it was Eve. She's the one who first did it and incited me to do it. And then what does Eve do? Oh, that was the serpent. I mean, everybody's kicking the can down the road to blame somebody else. Even Moses in Deuteronomy 3, the scripture's talking about how they're getting ready to enter the promised land. And Moses, almost 40 years earlier, had been disobedient when he struck the rock that God told Moses to simply speak to in front of all of Israel. Moses, speak to the rock and water is going to come out for the people. But Moses was so angry with God's people at their rebellion and their discontent that he struck the rock. And as a result, 40 years earlier, God had said, Moses, because you were disobedient, you are not going to enter the promised land. So in Deuteronomy 3, here they are standing at the doorway to the promised land. And Moses tries one more time, God, please let me go into the promised land. I've had to endure this wilderness with these people all these years. Please let me go in. And God said, the scripture says that Moses' report was, God was still angry with me because of you, you Israelites. Again, instead of taking responsibility for his own disobedience, he was casting blame once again on God's people. That is something that we all have a tendency to do. And I want to encourage you today, where and when you have opportunity to shift the blame to someone else so the heat can get off of you, resist the temptation. And especially when you know that you've got to man up or woman up and take responsibility for decisions you've made. It's not an easy thing to do, and we all try to avoid it, but do your best to build others up and not to tear them down. So when it's your turn to take the heat, take it. Ask God to help you have a fireproof suit on so that you can withstand that heat and those flames. But that'll be the best thing that you can do for everybody around you, including yourself. Thank you for watching Soul Steps today. We appreciate it. Please remember to visit our website at soulsteps.org. There you'll find opportunities to ask for prayer. There's a list of volunteer needs that we have so you can help us grow and develop our team and this work. And it'll show you opportunities for giving financially as you're able. We appreciate your support in every way. And remember that soul steps are important today because God cares about who you are and how you live. God bless you.